very warm welcome. Here we are looking at Verbal Ability Class Assignment 2. Now, before we go on to the questions that are related to Greek and Latin root words that you see towards the end of your assignment, we will be looking briefly at 12 important Greek roots, okay? Now, these are some root words that will help you identify words quickly. You will be able to know the meaning of the words even by guesswork. So we will be looking at 12 easy Greek roots with examples, okay? Remember mnemonic way, the way that we had seen, there was no asar on the beti, so the dad acted with acerbity. So acerbity is basically roughness of tone when you're reprimanding, when you're scolding. So that's called mnemonic way. Greek root words or root words is a tendency when you're looking at words, when you're looking at some maybe there are these 3-letter words or 2-letter words like neo, diarchy, or archy, crusy, which are having some meaning. Phobia or logy. So phobia means fear, logy means study of. You will be able to then at least try to guess what can be the possible solution of the answer. So Greek root words are important, Greek and Latin root words are important, and there are other root words also that we'll keep on preparing you for. You don't have to worry, but we'd recommend you to definitely pay attention here. Now let's quickly look at 12 Greek roots. I have purposely inserted even the Hindi meaning so that you can retain it better. All right. So the first root word that you have is neo. Neo means new, something that is new, something that is absolutely fresh, something that is going to be absolutely new, or in Hindi we can call it नई चीज़ है, पुरानी नहीं है, नई है, ठीक है? So we've got these few words which are starting with this root word, such as neophyte. Very important word, has been asked twice or thrice in your BMS entrances and other undergraduate entrances. Neophyte is a person who's a novice. He's a beginner. He's a person, so for example, if someone's just completed their graduation and they start working, they'll be called a neophyte. They don't have experience. An inexperienced person is a neophyte. An inexperienced person is a neophyte. Neologism means that a recently coined word, a new word that has been coined. For example, COVID-19, coronavirus is a new form of virus, and therefore what are we calling it? We are calling it coronavirus, novel coronavirus. Novel, new, it's a new coronavirus, right? So you need to remember, this is a neologism. This is a new word that has been coined to name a disease, right? Neonate, a newly born child, a newborn baby. Neonate, newly born child. So can you see that all these three words were having the root word neo? So therefore they were somewhere connected with the word new. Okay, so that is how a root word can actually help you. For example, if I knew that neo is new and I didn't know the meaning of the word neophyte, I could have at least guessed it. It's someone who's new, it's someone who's a beginner. I could have at least guessed it, right? So root words are very helpful because we won't be able to remember so many words, right? Even though we'll try, but of course it might be a tough challenge. But root words are very, very helpful. Pan means all. Pan means all. Hindi में बोले तो सब. All, when we're talking about all, okay? So for example, when I talk about pantheism, pan means all, theo root word means God. A belief that thinks that God is everywhere, God is all around, God is in this laptop through which you're watching the video, or the telephone or mobile phone through which you're watching the video. It is in your notebook. It is God's present everywhere around. So this is called pantheism. It's a belief that God is everywhere, that God is everywhere, okay? So you need to remember pantheism, a belief that God is everywhere. Panorama is like a bird's eye view. You can get a complete view. For example, we use our drones can capture and give us a panorama. Panorama is like a big huge view. There are certain mobile phones which have a panorama shot now these days. That means they give you a bigger view, they give you a larger view, they give you a bigger view. right? So pan means all, pan means all, okay? So pantheism, a belief that God is everywhere, panorama, an all-round view, an all-round view, right? So that is what is called, and that is how these words are coming from the root word pan, which means all. Onim. Onim is name. Onim is name. Okay. You need to remember onim means name. So, for example, pseudonym. Pseudo means false, and pseudonym is your false name or a pen name that you've given yourself. Pseudonym is a pen name or a false name that you've given to yourself, right? So, onim means name. Onim means name. All right. And pseudonym is a false name. Antonym is an opposite name. Antonym is an opposite name. Antonym is an opposite name. Synonym is a similar word, is a similar name, right? So antonyms are opposite names. So in Hindi, we can call it Vilom Shabd. Synonyms, Prayavachi Shabd, right? So this is what you need to remember, that onym root word means name. Morph is form, okay? So when you talk about your form, for example, in Hindi we can call it आकार, आपका आकार जो है, ठीक है? So it's basically your form. Morph is form. Morphology, it's a study of form of language, or it's a study, remember logy means study of, right? Or it's a study of the structure of an organism. Please remember, in morphology, when we talk about morphology, this is a study of proper language or words, the form of words, or it is a study of structure of an organism. All right. Metamorphosis, a very important word that is often asked in your exam. Metamorphosis is when you change your form. Do you remember these stories where you see that a man becomes a beast, or a beast becomes a man, or a very popular show on television, Nagin, where you see like a woman transforming into a snake, right? So what is happening with her? There is metamorphosis. There is metamorphosis. She's changing her form. That's called metamorphosis. When we talk about poly is many. Poly is many, बहुत सारा. जब बहुत सारा है, that's poly. We'll use the root word poly for that. You can see on this, on your screen, the image of so many people, right? So many is बहुत सारा. That's poly. Poly is बहुत सारा. Very important words. Please remember this. Polyglot. Polyglot. All the words that you see right now in front of you, they've been asked in some form or the other in your undergraduate entrances. Pay attention. They're important. Now, when we talk about polyglot is a person who is trained and competent in many languages. A polyglot is a person who's trained and competent in many languages. That person is called a polyglot. He's competent in many languages. He's trained in many languages. Polyglot. He's competent and trained in many languages. Polymath. A person who's got knowledge in a variety of subjects is a polymath. A person who has knowledge in a variety of subjects is a polymath, right? So, for example, Rabindranath Tagore was a polymath, right? He was also a polyglot. He knew Bengali, he knew English, he knew Hindi, or he knew a couple of other languages properly. Polyandry. You can remember it. Now, these days, everyone's watching Ramayana and Mahabharata on Doordarshan, right? I'm sure one or two of your family members must also be watching it. So, in Mahabharata, the case of Draupadi was polyandry, a case of polyandry. She was having 5 husbands, right? So, when a woman is having more than one husband, that is called polyandry. Okay? Poly, many husbands, many andry. Ander root word means man. So a woman having more than one husband is polyandry. And polygamy, gam root word means marriage. So a man who's having more than a wife, or whenever anyone is having more than one marriage, that's called polygamy. Okay? So polyglot, polymath, polyandry, polygamy, all coming from the root word poly, which means many. Gam, like I told you, is a root word that's associated with marriage, okay? Gam root word is associated with marriage, right? In Hindi, if we call it Vivah Shadi, जो कि आजकल बिल्कुल ban है, because you can't really have a congregation, you can't really have a gathering, right? So gam is basically marriage, all right? Monogamist. Mono means one. Gam means marriage. A person married to one person. Monogamist, monogamist. Bigamist, bigamist. Bi means two, gam means marriage. A person who's married to two people, bigamist. A person married to two people, bigamist. Polygamist, polygamist, married to many. Poly means many and gam means marriage. Polygamist is a person married to many. Mesogamist, meso root word means hatred. Meso root word means hatred. When you don't like something, when you dislike something. When you don't like something, when you dislike something, we use the root word meso. We use the root word meso. Mesogamist, one who hates marriage. One who hates marriage is a mesogamist. So meso means when you hate something, when you loathe something, LOATHE, when you loathe something, when you don't like something, that is when we are using the word meso. That is when we are using the word meso. For example, misanthropy. Anthrop is man, hater of mankind. A person who doesn't like mankind. There's a very famous writer, I'm sure you must have read Gulliver Travels, Gulliver Ki Vichitra Yatraएं. We used to have a chapter also when we were very young. That's written by a person called Jonathan Swift. He was a misanthropist. He would not like mankind at all, right? So misanthropy is hatred of mankind, and misanthropist is a person who hates mankind. Misogynist, misogynist, gyn root word, Gyn, gyn root word means woman. So a person who hates woman, who disrespects woman, all the rapists are called misogynist, right? All the rapists are called misogynist. Why are they called misogynist? Because they hate women, they don't respect women. Mesogamist, one who hates marriage, right? Mesogamist, one who hates marriage. Mesobiblic, biblo root word means books, right? Related to books. So a person who hates books, mesobiblic, right? So meso root word means to hate. When you don't like, when you have an aversion, when you dislike, you're using the root word meso. You're using the root word meso. Now, path root word means feeling, right? It means feeling. We've already discussed this also while looking at your verbal ability class assignment 1. Path root word means you have feelings, right? So it's associated with feelings. For example, you've got sympathy. Sympathy is when you have compassion for someone. You can actually, you are trying to sympathize with someone. You're like, oh, ye to bahut hi bura hua. Empathy is when you actually feel their pain. You can actually feel their pain. You can associate yourself with their pain. You can associate yourself with their pain. Apathy is indifference, lack of interest, indifference. Right? So please remember, path root word is associated with feeling. Path root word is associated with feeling. Very important root word, archi or crusy. Archi or crusy. We've discussed this also. Let's just quickly revise. Archi or crusy means government, means rule, right? So for example, we've got theocracy, a government by gods. Plutocracy, a government by rich. Anarchy, absence of government. So complete pandemonium, complete chaos, pandemonium, right? We've got oligarchy. Oligarchy is a rule by few powerful people. Rule by few powerful people. Patriarchy, when the oldest male is the head of the family. Patriarchy. Now, logy root word means the study of, when you're studying something, right? That is when we are using the root word logy, right? So logy is standing for study of. Anthropology, the study of human race is called anthropology. Anthrop root word means mankind. Logy means study. So the study of human beings, is called anthropology. Astrology is a study of stars and its effects. The study of stars and its effects is called astrology. Archaeology is a study of things of past. Archaeology is a study of things of past, right? So logy root word means study. Soft root word means wisdom, right? It's associated with knowledge, wisdom, right? Sophisticated, when you're very classy, when you're urbane, you know the manners, right? When you're urbane, when you're classy, we are using the word sophisticated. Sophist is a person who's very eloquent, can speak very well, is very, very eloquent, is a good speaker. Sophist is a good speaker. Philosophy, love for wisdom. Philo root word means love. Love for Sophia, love for wisdom is philosophy. Sophist is a great speaker, Chron root word means associated with time. It's associated with time. Chron root word is associated with time. Alright. Chronology, a proper arrangement, a proper timely arrangement of events. It's called chronology. Chronicle, it's a historical event. Chronicle is a historical record. Right? Chronic is something that is lasting for a very long time. All right, and a chronograph is a stopwatch that records time with absolute great accuracy. Okay, so chronicle is a historical record. The Chronicles of Narnia, historical records of Narnia. Chronic, which is lasting for a very long time. Chronic pain, lasting for a very long time. Okay, so here we've looked at 12 important Greek root words. Please try to remember them. They'll make your job very simple and easy. We'll of course continue with the questions, but do remember to certainly revise these 12 Greek root words. Thank you so much. And if there are any doubts, please do let us know.